We are all here to accomplish something, aren't we? Think about it. If life were only about existing, why would we have this restlessness inside us, this feeling of emptiness waiting to be filled? If you've ever achieved something you deeply desired in the past, only to realize the next day that the sense of fulfillment was fleeting, know that Leo Tolstoy shared the same feeling. He was a deeply engaged thinker, and his philosophy permeates his works. His search for the meaning of life brought lessons that can also transform yours. Tolstoy had fame, wealth, and recognition, yet at some point, he found himself on the brink of despair. He realized that none of these things brought true happiness. So, what truly gives meaning to our existence? Today, we will explore 5 profound lessons left by Tolstoy, teachings that might make you question your certainties and even change how you live. Imagine reaching the peak of your career success. You've worked hard, earned fame and recognition. But instead of feeling complete, an emptiness begins to grow inside you. This is exactly what happened to Tolstoy. His journey in search of meaning began long before his fame. As a young man, Tolstoy joined the military and fought in the brutal Crimean War. There, amidst human suffering and the chaos of battlefields, he began questioning existence. War showed him the fragility of life and the cruelty of the world, awakening in him a deep desire for answers. When he returned, he immersed himself in literature and quickly became one of the world's most renowned writers. But his success came with growing restlessness. Books like War and Peace and Anna Karenina were not just novels, they were desperate attempts to understand human destiny. In War and Peace, he explored the chaos of war and the unpredictability of life. In Anna Karenina, he exposed social hypocrisy and the conflicts between desire and morality. Even after achieving everything, Tolstoy felt lost. Fame and fortune did not fill the void inside him. He realized that most people cope with this lack of meaning in 4 ways. Some ignore the question and live on autopilot. Others drown their anxieties in fleeting pleasures. Some fall into despair and see death as the only way out. And then there are those who find meaning in something greater than themselves. This last discovery changed his worldview. He realized that the true meaning of life does not lie in external achievements but in connection with something that transcends individual existence. This idea became the foundation of his book The Kingdom of God is Within You, where he argued that genuine fulfillment comes from living by profound spiritual principles and serving others. After much suffering, Tolstoy found purpose in simplicity and selfless love. Now, if we look at our own lives, how many times have we thought that a new job, a new relationship, or a new achievement would finally bring happiness, only to discover that the feeling was fleeting? If we seek meaning in external things, we are doomed to emptiness. True purpose is born from within. Tolstoy was born into a Russian aristocratic family, surrounded by luxury and privilege. But over time, he realized that wealth, instead of bringing peace, only created more anguish. The more he possessed, the more restless he felt. This restlessness led him to a harsh realization. Observing the peasants working his land, he noticed that despite having little, many of them demonstrated a sense of peace that he, with all his wealth, had never experienced. He began to wonder, are we all chasing the wrong things? Then, he made a radical decision. He rejected his social position, gave away much of his wealth, and chose to live simply, dressing like a peasant and working the land. He believed that modern society creates artificial desires, convincing us that we need more to be happy, when in reality, peace comes from reducing excess, not accumulating it. This might seem extreme, but think for a moment, how many times have you believed you needed to buy something to feel better? How many hours of life do we trade for possessions that ultimately do not fill our inner void? Tolstoy realized that the endless pursuit of wealth and status distances us from what truly matters. In his work Family Happiness, he wrote, "I have lived long enough to understand that happiness lies in the simplicity of life, in nature, and in love." Today, we are bombarded with the idea that more money, more success, and more possessions will make us happy. But is this really true? Recent studies show that after reaching a certain level of financial comfort, increasing income no longer significantly increases happiness. In other words, we are chasing an illusion. Tolstoy teaches us that true wealth is not in what we accumulate, but in the freedom of not being enslaved by our desires. He believed that excess is a burden we carry unnecessarily. So, reflect, is what you are desperately seeking truly what you need? Or is real happiness found in slowing down, simplifying, and valuing the little things? If you had to choose a single value to guide your life, what would it be? For Tolstoy, the answer was clear: love for others. He believed that true transformation, both individual and social, can only happen when we choose to act with compassion. But this vision did not come from nowhere. For years, Tolstoy observed how society was driven by selfishness, violence, and the thirst for power. He saw how the poor were exploited, how wars destroyed lives for futile reasons, and how pride separated people. Gradually, he realized that all these tragedies had a common root: a lack of empathy. His answer to this problem came through the philosophy of nonviolence and unconditional love, ideas he developed in the book we have mentioned before, The Kingdom of God is Within You. This book was so powerful that it inspired great world leaders like Mahatma Gandhi, who used Tolstoy's teachings as the foundation for his peaceful struggle for India's independence. Martin Luther King Jr. was also deeply influenced by this vision in leading the civil rights movement in the United States. Tolstoy believed that only love can break the cycles of hatred and suffering that repeat throughout history. But for him, true love was not just a feeling, it was a daily practice. It meant forgiving when feeling hurt, helping without expecting anything in return, and treating every human being with dignity, regardless of their background or status. Think about how many times you've distanced yourself from someone out of pride. How many times have you avoided apologizing even when you knew you were wrong? How often have we not helped someone because we were too preoccupied with our own problems? The truth is, we live in a world that encourages us to look only at ourselves, but Tolstoy's philosophy challenges this mentality. So let's work on how could we incorporate more love and compassion into our daily lives. We could start by being kinder to ourselves, trying to understand others with more empathy, actively listening, and speaking genuine words of validation. Tolstoy reminds us that, in the end, what truly matters is not what we achieve for ourselves, but how much we improve the lives of others. Now, the question is, are you living according to these lessons, or are you trapped in illusions that only lead to emptiness? If this video made you reflect, the next one will take you even deeper. Click on it now and continue this journey of knowledge.